How's it? And welcome back to the Burton Builds garage. In this video, we look at step by step how I changed the rear shock absorbers on my vehicle. So let's get started. The specific vehicle we are looking at today is my 2006 model Toyota Hilux 2.7 VVTi, and it is the 4x2 version. Now, this method will likely carry over to the 4x4 or actually most other vehicles. Although if your vehicle does differ, just maybe consult your maintenance manual or go have a chat to your service agent. Maybe there are specific procedures that you need to follow. So what tools do we need to complete today's job? In my case specifically, I needed a number 17 spanner. That's literally all I needed. I also used a pry bar. Now, if you don't have a pry bar at home, just go borrow one of your mate's snap-on screwdrivers, poke around with that. I'm sure you'll be very popular. The other things that we needed, well, specifically in my case again, you guys might not need this, was a bit of sandpaper and some paint. I had a little bit of corrosion that I needed to treat. And lastly, you need a jack and jack stands. Now, I say you need, in my case, I didn't actually need them because the vehicle is high enough for me to crawl underneath and actually do the complete job in place. But if you do use a jack, please use jack stands and remember to place or locate and insert these things properly. A jack stand is only going to be safe if it is inserted and used in the proper manner. So, what are the parts that we needed today? Well, of course, we will need a set of shocks, two of them, and I've decided to go with the Toyota shocks. The reason I've gone with Toyota shocks is because they were actually the same price when I bought them from Toyota compared to some of the fitment centers. Although the fitment centers did include fitting in their price, but that's not a problem for myself and likely you know, we can just do it at home. Also, as far as the quality was concerned, I thought it may be better to buy directly from the agents because these shocks, although Toyota might not manufacture them, they will be manufactured by somebody else. They will be manufactured to Toyota's spec, so their damping rates, etc. It's not just going to be this generic shock with different mounting points at either end. Another thing that you might not necessarily need, but I thought I would need, is the little rubber mounting bushings, if you want to say. These go at the top and the bottom end of each shock. So, how long is this job going to take you? You know, probably about 30 minutes. It's really not very difficult at all. That's on most rear-wheel drive vehicles with a live axle at the back. If yours is a bit more intricate, maybe it'll take you a little bit longer, especially if you've got coilover type suspension or independent rear suspension. Also, there's going to be a couple of other videos similar to this on my channel. Now, some of them may have already been published. Some of them are probably still in the works. So make sure you are subscribed and click that little bell icon to make sure that you don't miss out on any of that future content. Okay, let's get started. We start off by reversing the bakkie into the garage. As mentioned many times before, I prefer working inside the garage rather than outside in the dirt and dust. Next up, I'll remove the bolt and washer at the top and bottom of the shock. These shouldn't be too tight, so using a normal spanner will work just fine. I had the impact wrench on hand, so I just used that instead. Then I use the pry bar to lever the shock off the rubber bushings. Sometimes these can be pretty tight, so getting it off by hand alone is going to be a little bit of hard work. I did the same for the upper shock mount. This one also required a bit of wiggling and rotating back and forth, but it also came off fairly easily. I also needed to remove the old rubber bushings because I will be installing new bushings. After removing the rubber bushing at the lower mounting point, I could see there was a bit of corrosion on the shaft. This I'll need to sort out later. Even the washer was a bit of a pain to remove. Normally this should slide right off just like it did at the top. You'll notice the washers are slightly different, one of them having a bigger internal hole than the other. The one with the bigger hole goes over the mounting shaft and the smaller one goes at the bolt end. I just decided to give these a bit of a brush off and clean. Comparing the old rubbers to the new rubbers, we can see they look the same shape and size. That is a good thing. Obviously, the older ones just look a bit old. Feeling the difference between them, the newer ones feel a bit more firm and springy. Thank goodness I bought some new ones. In most cases, these bushings are fairly cheap, so might as well replace them, especially since these have done about 200,000 kilometers or 125,000 miles. Now, this is not exactly a scientific test, but comparing the old shocks to the new ones, pressing them down equally hard on each side, we can see the old one compresses a lot quicker and easier than the newer one. The newer one also extends by itself, and of course, these are both gas-filled shocks, and the old one used to do this, so clearly it is also worn. Also, just playing around with each shock for a while, I can feel the older one is overall just well worn compared to the newer one. Definitely time to be replaced. I wanted to treat the corroded area at the lower shock mount, so gave it a bit of a wire brush, rubbed it up with some sandpaper, wiped off all the dust and grease with a cloth and benzene, and painted some metal etching primer on there. This should do the trick, well, at least for a little while. After the paint was dry, I first slid on the washer and then the rubber bushing at the top and bottom mounts. You do need to take note the orientation of which the washer and the bushing is being installed, so stick around until the end of the video and we'll explain this in more detail. Mounting the new shock is fairly simple. Just slide it over the top mounting point, install the rubber bush, then washer and bolt assembly, and loosely screw it into place. I haven't tightened it up yet, take note of that. We'll do the same with the lower side, compressing the shock slightly to line it up with the mounting point, slide the shock on, install the rubber bush, and again we'll talk about this orientation at the end of the video, and then loosely the washer and bolt assembly. Now we can actually tighten up both the top and the bottom. Remember, if you're not too sure how tight to make these bolts, just consult your maintenance manual or your service agent. And that's pretty much it for the left side. The procedure for the right side is practically the same, except that the shock is tilted forward towards the front of the vehicle, but the mounting points and the methods are all the same, so you shouldn't have any problems there. And the last thing to do is to take the vehicle for a test drive, pretty much just to check here that there aren't any funny noises and that the new shocks do feel like they are actually working. And in my case, they feel really great. Something I did mention earlier on in the video was those little rubber bushings and the washers we were going to talk about in a little bit more detail, of course. And yeah, I've got two of them here. These are the old ones. And if you look closely, you can see this bushing is triangular shaped like that. When you install these things, the triangles must face each other. So what I've got here is one of the old shocks. This is the bottom mount. And if I just kind of grab it like that, we can see here's our rubber bushing, and the triangle faces into this little end mount point here. So we face that in there, and now this triangle facing that way also faces into the mount, and that is it. Then the washers. These washers are not flat washers. Maybe on your vehicle they might be, but on my vehicle they're not flat washers, and these washers kind of sandwich everything together. Now, the washer goes on a specific way, and the washers are domed, so the dome goes like that and like that. So the center of the domes also point inwards. So keep that in mind when you are installing those rubbers and washers. Chaps, I hope you found this video useful. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Hit that little bell icon and don't miss out on any of the future videos. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this video, and tell us about your experiences with working on your car. Yeah, I suppose that is it, and I guess we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.